Mark sat in front of six glowing monitors, heart racing, eyes flicking between candlesticks and news headlines. A surprise interest rate hike had just sent the market into chaos. Red bars crashed across his screen. For a moment, panic surged through his chest. But then he stopped, closed his eyes, breathed. 3 months ago, Mark would have slammed into a trade, trying to win back what the market just took. But today he remembered the first Stoic principle that changed everything. Focus only on what you can control. In trading, Mark had no control over news events, price spikes, or what other traders did. But he could control his actions, his risk management, his reaction, his discipline. He opened his journal and wrote the rule again, underlined 3 times. The market is not within your control, but your preparation and your response always are. Instead of chasing losses, he stuck to his plan. He had a stop loss and it triggered. Trade closed, done. A loss, yes, but a controlled one. Most traders lose because they try to control outcomes instead of managing their behavior. Mark learned to let go of needing to be right. Instead, he aimed to trade well. And that shift from outcome to process was his first real profit. That day, he didn't win money. He won mastery. The market stayed wild, but Mark stayed calm, and in a game ruled by emotion, that made him lethal. Mark had just closed his biggest trade of the month, a $15,000 win on gold. His adrenaline spiked. He danced around his small office, fist pumping the air like he'd won the lottery. He felt invincible. But the next day, the same setup, same confirmation, different outcome, a $9,000 loss. Mark's stomach dropped. He stared at the screen, replaying every tick, wondering what went wrong. He didn't understand yet that trading isn't about winning every time, it's about executing a plan with consistency, regardless of what the market decides. Later that week, during a Zoom session with his mentor, Mark vented, "I did everything right and still lost." The mentor, calm and collected, replied, "Then you won." Confused, Mark leaned in. "Detach from the outcome. Attached to the process. Your job isn't to control the market, it's to control yourself. If you followed your edge, stuck to your plan, and respected risk, that's a win. The result is just noise." It clicked. Mark began to see the markets differently. Each trade became just one of many, not a personal victory or failure, just a brick in the foundation. He stopped chasing the high of green trades and no longer spiraled when faced with red ones. He rewired his mindset. Winning trade but broke rules? That's a loss. Losing trade but followed the plan? That's a win. By the end of that month, Mark's equity curve wasn't just smoother, his emotions were too. He no longer panicked or celebrated like a gambler. He had become a stoic executor. Mark sat at his trading desk, the same way he had 100 times before. Charts glowed, news headlines scrolled, and the markets moved like an untamed storm. He had spent the past few weeks sharpening his skills, creating a rock-solid plan. But no matter how precise his setups were, the outcome remained out of his hands. One day he nailed every technical signal on a GBP/USD trade. It was textbook. His stop loss was in place, risk calculated, emotions steady. But then a surprise interest rate announcement hit the wires. The candle shot down. He was stopped out instantly. Anger bubbled. He slammed the desk, stared at the screen like it had betrayed him. "Why do I even bother?" he muttered. That evening, his mentor called. "You did everything right, Mark, but you're fighting a battle you can't win. You're trying to control the market." Mark fell silent. His mentor continued. "The Stoics had a rule: focus only on what you can control. Your actions, your reactions, your discipline. Not the noise, not the outcome, not the Fed." That hit deep. The next day, Mark taped a sticky note to his monitor. "Focus on process, release the rest." He began each morning reviewing his plan, not price forecasts. He journaled not just the trades, but his thoughts and emotions. He started celebrating perfect execution, even on losing trades. The market didn't change, but Mark did. He stopped chasing perfection. He stopped blaming external chaos. And for the first time, he found peace in the process. By letting go of what he couldn't control, Mark finally took control of what mattered most himself. Mark had prepared all night for the non-farm payroll release. He analyzed the charts, measured his risk, and waited patiently for the exact moment his setup aligned. The breakout came exactly as expected. With one decisive click, he entered the trade, confident that everything was in place. Then it happened. A news headline blindsided the market, something entirely unrelated to the data release. Within seconds, the price reversed violently, slamming into his stop loss. Loss, minus 1.00%. A clean setup ruined by chaos. Anger surged. This wasn't supposed to happen, Mark growled, slamming his mouse down. His mind spun in circles, wondering if he should have pulled out earlier, if the market was rigged, if it was all a mistake. But then he remembered his mentor's words. You are not entitled to a result, only the right process. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. Mark closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and sat back. He reviewed the trade. His entry was clean. His risk was managed. He had done nothing wrong. That night, instead of revenge trading, he journaled. I followed my plan. The loss hurts, but I'm proud of how I acted. For the first time, Mark felt powerful, not because he controlled the market, but because he had finally stopped trying to. By accepting that outcomes are never guaranteed, he found something even better than a winning trade: peace.